Hello everyone, I'm back for day 5 of Kaldheim spoilers. Before we get into the video and me going over the new cards that are releasing, just want to remind you to please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, you could go and find me on twitch.tv/Jarvis_Moonbeam and on Instagram and Twitter at Jarvis_Moonbeam. Also, you can join my Discord by following the link in the comments below. Enjoy the video and let me know if you have any different opinions than I would. The first card for today is Run Ashore. It's an instant that costs 4 and 2 blue. You choose one or both. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it on the top or bottom of their library, or return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. I don't love this. I actually pretty much hate this, and I don't think it's worth playing in any format anywhere. Just my opinion there. I don't think it's worth 6 mana, especially for return to owner's hand. You have effects that cost 1 or 2 mana, like the Petty Theft of Brazen Borrower. It's just not good. Targaryen's Shadow is 3 and 2 black. It's an instant. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures, and it also has Foretell. Yet again, don't like it. It might see play in some formats, especially if like sacrifice matters. You know, the Targaryen herself having the whenever an opponent sacrifice put it back underneath the battlefield underneath your control could make it worth it. Other than that, it might see play in like a sack deck, but I think the CMC is just too prohibitive overall. Blood Sky Berserker is a 1 and a black human berserker, and he's a 1/1. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on him, and it gains menace until end of turn. This is going to be a limited bomb, I'm sure. Otherwise, you'd have to be playing a very low curve deck to make the 1/1 counter game worthwhile. But I could definitely see this team playing limited. Probably not so much standard or commander, but you never know. Especially like in a Lurrus deck where it's just very low CMC, it could very well see play. Death Knell Berserker, 1 and a black. It's an elf berserker this time, and it's a 2/2. When it dies, if it had power 3 or greater, create a 2/2 black zombie berserker creature token. Yet again, limited, definitely. Any other format, probably not. But it's definitely a good limited card. Low CMC, 2/2 creatures, there's nothing wrong with that. It'll go and help you get started in the game. Rune of Ascension, 1 and a blue. Enchant permanent. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it has flying. As long as enchanted permanent is an equipment, it has equipped creature, it has flying. This is something I'm not sure how I feel about. The flying thing will probably make a difference in a limited format. In a standard or historic build, I'm not sure. The thing that really saves this is that it cantrips when it enters. So this could see a slot in a Yorion deck. Especially there are some Yorion decks that play Lithiform Blight, and that just makes it that just pretty much is played for draw a card and maybe mana fixing. This giving a creature flying, making it so you have another body to go and hit, could see play. I don't really hold hope of it seeing play. But the cantrip and drawing a card will make it a good limited card for sure. Open the Omen Pass. 2 and a red. Choose one. Add 2 mana of any one color and 2 mana of any other color. Spend this mana only to cast creature or enchantment spells. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. I just had to reread this because the first time I read it, I didn't see that second spot of add 2 mana of any other color. I think that this will go and see play in the Gruul deck in Standard, just because you could go and ramp this out on turn 3 into a questing beast. The cantrip part of it, I don't think even matters. I think the ramp part of it is what really matters here, and I think this could see play in Standard. Sure, it's only 1 more mana, but that 1 mana can make a huge difference. Dogged Pursuit, 3 and a black. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. I don't think this is very good. It's once a turn, you're draining your opponent and you're gaining a life. Do I think it will see play? Maybe in a life gain, life drain deck, but I don't really see it seeing play anywhere. I don't think it's a good card. I don't think it's going to really be played that often, but people have done stranger things. I'm not a fan. Carter, Doomscourge, 2, a black and a red, is a legendary demon berserker that's a 4/3. When it enters the battlefield until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. And whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This card is very interesting to me. It has a built-in goad. So, for those people that don't like the combat step, I'm one of those people that doesn't like the combat step. This will go and force them to attack. And then the attacking creature and dying, that also counts your attacking creatures. So, declare attackers, sacrifice the creature. It's an attacking creature that died. You trigger it. Do I think this is going to see play in Standard Historic? Quite possibly. It could see play in some type of Rakdos deck. Probably nothing more than a Rakdos deck. Someone has to break this for it to see play in the end. Fall of the Imposter, 1, a green and a white. First and second steps are put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. Final step is exile a creature with the greatest power among creatures target opponent controls. This will definitely see play. The Celestia Counters deck will love this card because it does put the +1/+1 counter on a creature. And then it's an exile removal spell. Sure, you're not getting it until turn 6 most likely, and that's at the earliest, but it's still very much worthwhile to play this. I don't really like sagas the most in Commander, but this is definitely a card that I'll see play in Standard, and is also a very good limited card as well. Boreal Outrider is 2 and a green. It's a snow creature, elf warrior, that's a 3/2. That whenever you cast a creature spell, if snow mana of any of that spell's colors was spent to cast it, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So, as I have mentioned before, I think that everyone's just going to go and play Snowlands because there's no reason not to play Snowlands. They're very easy to get, and why not just play something that rewards you for playing it? It's kind of like why people play Landfall. You get rewarded for playing lands, so why not go and do something that just rewards you for playing the game? This is going to go and see play in Limited for sure. It's a very good Limited card. The snow part of it is going to be a bit of a restriction there, just because you have to draft the snow lands, or if you're doing sealed, at least you get to open them, but you have to hope that the deck you're building fits the colors of the snow lands you get. But in Standard, going back to that Celestia Counters deck, put this in a 3 slot. Everything you cast is getting a +1/+1 counter, unless you're playing Stonecoil Serpent, which is also seen in that deck. But everything else is going to go and get those counters. Revival of the Draugr, 1 and a black. It's an instant, and you choose 1. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Return 2 creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand. very strong card. It is good for tribal decks because you get 2 creatures as long as they share a creature type, so tribal. And then, or you can just get 1. I don't know how much play this will see in a standard format. I think this would be a decent card in Commander, potentially. Just getting that graveyard recursion, and limited, it will see play as well for sure. One of the new gods, Torwalf, God of Fury, 2 and 2 red. It's a legendary god that has trample. That's it. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Torwalf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent. And it's a 5/4. So, to put it simply, you either have an ability or a spell that is going to deal damage to an opponent. To a creature that an opponent controls. Let's make it simple. You have a shock that's going to deal 2 damage to a creature that has a toughness of 1. That excess 1 damage could then be dealt to another creature, another planeswalker, or even to the opponent. What everyone has brought up as something that can go and see use of this is Blasphemous Act. Deal 13 damage to all creatures that your opponents control. You then deal all the excess damage from those creatures right to your opponent's face, and that can be a game ender. It's very strong. This card will see play in standard in a red deck wins, red burn, even mid-range red. It will see play there. It's going to be a mono red commander for sure. I think you're going to see a lot of him. Now the other side of Torwalf is Torwalf's Hammer. It's 1 in a red. It's a legendary artifact equipment that has equip 1 in a red, and equipped creature 1 in a red. Tap it. Unattached Torwalf's Hammer deals 3 damage to any target. Return Torwalf's Hammer to its owner's hand. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 as long as it's legendary. The hammer side of it is not as good as the creature side of it. But it does have the ability to act as removal. I just don't think you're really going to see people go and play the hammer side of the card. It's just not going to happen. Reflections of Littjara, 4 and a blue. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. This card's awesome. Tribal decks for sure, with Changelings being such a big proponent in this set, this can make a gigantic difference. This could even be a top-end rogues play, because what's better than 1 Thieves Guild Enforcer? 2 Thieves Guild Enforcers. What's better than 1 Soaring Thought Thief? 2 Soaring Thought Thieves. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this in a top-end rogues build. Commander, yet again, tribal decks. Any blue deck that is playing tribal synergy, I could see this seeing play just because that's extra creatures. Oh, you play a 6-drop? What's better than you getting that 1 6-drop? You get 2 6-drops. Why not play it? Divine Gambit, 2 white. It's a sorcery. Exile a target artifact, creature, or enchantment opponent controls. That player may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. This card is awful. Don't play this card. There is no reason to play this card. There are many better options in every single format in Magic's existence than this card to play. Why would you want to go and give your opponent a free spell? The only way that this card ever makes sense to play is if your opponent's hellbent. Don't rely on your opponent being hellbent. It's a bad strategy. Tormentor's Helm. It's a single red. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and whenever equipped creature becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to defending player. I think this is a good limited card. It's very cheap to equip. It's very cheap to play. Makes your 1/1s 2/2s. If they block, you get to deal an extra damage. Let's make it even better. If you're playing this on a red creature in like standard or something like that, you have Torbrain. That 1 extra damage becomes 3 extra damage. I don't know if we'll see standard play. It won't see historic play. I don't think it's good enough to see commander play either, but it has potential for standard. Not high potential, but definitely a little bit. Now this is probably my favorite card that has been unveiled today. It's Tybalt's Trickery. It's 1 in a red, an instant. Counter target spell. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then they put the exiled cards on the bottom of their library in a random order. So, there's a lot to unpack there. First, it's a counter spell in red that doesn't care about the color of the spell you're countering. 2, the 1, 2, or 3, and milling, I don't really think that's necessarily the best option, but it's something that might see play. Might be relevant, I should say, not see play. Might be relevant. Then exiles cards from the top of the library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. So, this is kind of Chaos Warp-esque, which makes it very red. That you remove that spell, and they get something for free. This card can go and be a major player in Commander. I don't know, in lower power Commander, I wouldn't play this. And the reason why I wouldn't play this in lower power Commander is you're there to have fun. Counter spells aren't necessarily played that well. But the biggest reason is that's where you're facing big dumb spells. You don't want to go and counter a small spell to get a big dumb spell thrown in your face. CDH, this stops combos. This is a CDH All-Star. Any red deck that is sans blue should play this in CDH. Standard, I feel like Standard almost runs into the same issue that lower powered Commander runs into, that it's not a difference maker. Like, sure, maybe you go and counter an Ugin and that turns into a Edgewall Innkeeper. Just throwing cards' names out there. You won there. But most of the time, there's not going to be very much variance in the power level of cards that makes it worthwhile. What has also been brought up, this pairs very well with can't cast spells from a play other than your hand. So, like, go and pair this with Drannith Magistrate. It's very good. Or what I like, Lavinia's Warrior's Renegade. They're not paying mana, automatically countered. This will go and stop a lot of those types of things from happening. And you can counter it and not worry about any repercussions because they're not getting the card they flip over anyway. Carter's Vicious Return. 2, a black and a red. It's an enchantment saga. Step 1 is you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, it deals 3 damage to any target. Step 2, each player discards a card. Step 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. It gains haste until your next turn. So, I think this will see play in Rakdos Sack decks in Standard. This is a good card for Limited. This might see play in Commander, but I really don't think it will. I think this is just like a good middle-of-the-road Rakdos Sack card that deals damage and can get you a big creature back from your graveyard. It's also possible that it never sees play at all because it is 4 mana and there are much better things to do at 4 mana. Like Rankle or Liliana, something in that vein. Another god, Jorn, God of Water, 2 and a red. It's a legendary snow creature, and whenever it attacks, it untaps each snow permanent control. Also a 3/3. A 3/3 for 3 that essentially ramps you. The reason why I say it essentially ramps you is you attack. You can even do something silly like attacking with it and then maze of in your own creature. And it untaps all your lands that you are playing because you can play all snow lands. And it taps all your creatures if they're snow permanents. It taps all your snow permanents. It is just a very strong ability. This will go and end up being a Sultai commander for a lot of people. It might be harder to go and play this in standard just because of the land abilities, unless you just kind of play this in a mono green deck. Just because going 3 colors isn't necessarily the best in standard, and other than the snow duels, you're not getting snow lands that go and help you with mana fixing. But a mono green deck works well. The backside of it is called Ring the Rhyme Staff, 1 a blue and a black. It's a legendary snow artifact, and you may play target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield tapped. Just as good as the front. If I was in the market for a Sultai commander, this would be the Sultai commander I would build right now. It does very powerful things. It's a lot of fun. Now, extra combat really isn't a Sultai thing, so you're not going to get that type of brokenness. But I'm sure that someone is going to make a combo with this that is a lot of fun. And depending if you're milling things and you mill a land away, you could tap it and play a card on your opponent's turn and get a land back. It could be mana fixing. It could do a lot of things. I really like this card a lot. Roots of Wisdom, 1 and a green. Sorcery, mill 3 cards, then return a land card or elf card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, draw a card. I don't like that this is a sorcery spell. It is self-mill or card draw. I don't like it a lot. Might see play in limited because you could go and get your lands back if you mill those, or get an elf if you mill that. Might see play in historic elves, but I really don't think it will, because in being a sorcery, it might be a little too slow, and it only goes to your hand. I just think there's a lot better things you can do than play Roots of Wisdom. Axguard Cavalry. 1 in a red, Dwarf Berserker. Target creature gains haste until end of turn, and it's a 2/2. Haste enablers have been in quite a few sets in current standard. The number 1 to mention is Crashing Drawbridge. I'd rather have the artifact haste enabler. This will be limited play for sure. I don't think this will go and see play in Commander, except for one reason. Well, 2 reasons, I should say. Dwarf Travel or Goat Travel, because there's a goat in the art, and the art is adorable. But I don't think it's powerful enough to make it worthwhile. Wither Crown, 1 and a black, is an enchantment aura. You enchant creature. Enchanted creature has base power 0 and has, at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life unless you sacrifice this creature. I like this card a lot. This card in limited acts as very good removal, because either they sacrifice their creature, or you're still dealing 1 to them, so it's very good removal. I also like this in the Orzhov enchantments deck that's been going around, because of the creature that whenever a enchanted creature dies, draw a card for each enchantment that was attached to it. So I could see that same play in there as well. It's not going to be a commander play. It's just not good enough for commander, but it's good enough for it's good enough for standard, it's good enough for historic, and it's a very, very good card in draft. Herald, King of Skemthar. 1, a black and a green. It's a 3/2 legendary elf warrior. Has Menace, or Menace. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an elf, warrior, or Tyvar card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. A good Golgari elf commander. I think there's better Golgari elf commanders, but it could be played as a commander there. Just people like to go and do their own thing, and that's what commander's for. Depending on the other elves, which we've seen quite a few good ones, Elf Tribal, Golgari Elf Tribal will be a thing. Tyvar getting the Planeswalker is good. It is a form of card advantage. I don't think the warriors are anything you have to worry about, though. It's always going to be about the elf and getting an elf. Herald unites the elves. 2, a black and a green. Mill 3 cards. You may put an elf or Tyvar card from your graveyard onto the battlefield. Step 2, put a +1/+1 counter on each elf you control. Step 3, whenever an elf you control attacks this turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. This card is awesome in an elf deck. I would play this in a Golgari elf deck all day long. Get your Planeswalker by milling it out, great. Get an elf by milling it out, great. +1/+1 counters. Elves tend to have small bodies, so buffing them up, why not? And the -1/-1 could act as removal, because sometimes indestructible gets in the way, but -1/-1 can go and get around that. This is going to see play in Commander, Golgari Elves deck in Historic or Standard. If it appears, this will see play in it, and this will definitely take up the 4th slot there. Egon, God of Death, 2 and a black, legendary creature god with Death Touch. Beginning of your upkeep, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, sacrifice Egon and draw a card. And it's a 6/6. I'm very torn on this card. I don't like the fact that at the beginning of my upkeep, I can go and completely lose a card I just spent 3 mana for if my graveyard is removed, or I don't have 2 cards in my graveyard in general. You kind of have to play this in a self-mill deck to make it worthwhile. I don't know how much I would play this in a standard or historic format. It's not something I really like. I don't like the risk-reward part of it. Maybe self-discard, like playing maybe like Rankle and attacking and choosing the discard option just to put more cards in your graveyard, possibly. But like self-mill is more likely where you're going to need to go here. Commander goes and falls underneath the people like playing weird commanders that a lot of people don't play. However, there's so many mono black commanders that are better than this. There's like already 2 mono black commanders in the set that are better than this. So I don't like it. I don't see a point in playing them, but other people will like them. His flip side is Throne of Death. It's a single black legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you mill a card. For 2 and a black, exile creature card from your graveyard and draw a card. The reason to play this card would be more to go and play the artifact side of it for the self-mill part of it, but you're only milling a single card. But you do have card draw by exiling creatures. I just don't think it's good enough. I really don't. I don't see why you'd want to play this in the majority of decks that are out there currently. There are just so many better options. Feed the Serpent, 2 and 2 black. It's an instant, exile a target creature or planeswalker. This is a bomb in limited. I would sometimes pack one, pick one this, depending on the pack. Kind of like how some people pack one, pick one, feed the Swarm right now. In Standard, it's not going to see play because for your exile creature or planeswalker spell, you have Eat Extinction. The great thing is, Eat Extinction will rotate out while Kaldheim is still legal. So in the next rotation, this very well could see play and take that slot that Eat Extinction does. In Commander, there's no reason to play this. You have so many better options. Don't play it. But play it in Limited. Play it all the time in Limited. And get eaten by that serpent. And the final card today is Catching Gold. 2 and a white. Enchant Permanent. Enchant Permanent can't attack, block, crew vehicles, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. This is a better pacifism. Better than Nahiri's Binding. The mana cost is less restrictive than Nahiri's Binding because it's 2 and a white instead of 1 and 2 white. It's you could go and enchant literally anything. Land, planeswalker, enchantment, artifact. And think about it, you could activate anything. Enchant the planeswalker. The planeswalker cannot go and activate abilities then. I love this card. This will have a home in Standard. Don't know where the home in Standard will be, but this will have a home. This could even see play in Commander because of it dealing with so many different permanent types. This is probably one of the best commons that we've seen this year. And by this year, I mean within the past 12 months, not like 2021. I don't have anything bad to say about it. But now that we've reviewed this card and reviewed all the cards that have come out today, let me know what you think. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? What are your favorite cards that were unveiled? Let me know. Have a good day.